Welcome to another segment of provocative conversations destined to provoke further thought and spark greater questions regarding God, church, and the religious establishments of both the past and the present. I am the proud heretic, Mr. Provocateur himself. Hello, I am Mr. Provocateur. We will continue on in the subtopic of the main topic, the season of the pandemic, the divine season of the pandemic season. The subtopic is still the type of season this is, because I think it's very important for people who hear these messages to know the type season this is. This is not a one type season. I know I always refer back to something that I came into a revelation of in Germany, while I was in Germany in the mid-90s, where I read the verse, "Oh, the manifold wisdom of God," the manifold wisdom of God. And when I began to search through that or seek through that, I came to realize or uncovered within me the many-sidedness of God, the many ways in which God works in his and through his and for his wisdom. God doesn't just do a thing just because he does a thing. He does a thing because he's already thought it out and it's wise. Nothing that God does is foolish. It may seem foolish to us, but it's not foolish in its essence, in its purpose. It looks foolish today, but what looks foolish today looks very wise tomorrow. So it is important that we know what type season we're living in, because if you don't know what type season you're living in, you won't know how to work or live or govern yourself or even prepare yourself. It is very important for us to know what type season this is. There are many reasons for this season, and I am giving you the reasons that God gave me. Again, I am pulling from things that God spoke to me on 22 different specific lengthy occasions. Again, I say I can only say what God said to me, because I have no other way in presenting it to you other than what I heard God say to me. I've already spoken that this may not be the exact wording in saying God said to me. Perhaps we'll come to a deeper understanding of God and of our own godness, that we'll come to understand that because God and you are so intertwined with each other, God and I, God and myself, God and me, we're so intertwined together that we both speak, that we speak as one. There's something there, but I won't mess around with that. I'll keep it where it's at, and I'll do that in my personal ponderings and searchings with God in the presence of my Godness. I'll work those things out there, but I'll just say God said to me. I can only tell you what God said to me. Let's go into it. I'm still picking up from June 3rd. Remember, he spoke to me 22 different times. Of course, he spoke to me in segmented periods of time throughout all of this and all, but I'm only recording what he spoke to me in those lengthy periods of time that he spoke to me. giving me word 10, 12, 15 pages long. I'm only pulling from those moments. And there were 22 of those moments. And I've segmented those moments and those dates by subtopics. And I am on the one subtopic of the type of season this is. And I went into all those 22 hearings, all of those 22 moments with God, and pulled out the things that related to the season this is. Because as I began to write down or type down everything God was saying to me, I began to realize he was talking to me a lot about this season is, this season is, this season is a season of. And I realized, wow, there's a lot about this season. So here's the subtopic of the type season this is. I stopped off on June 3rd, 2020, from what God said to me on June 3rd. I said June 3rd, 2020 was a very, very, perhaps the longest one God gave me, I think, on that day, June 3rd. And it was surrounding the time period where George Floyd was killed. I don't know if it was the night he was killed or like 2 days later. I'm not sure. But anyway, I know it was around and in that time period right there at the beginning of all of that uproar and stuff. But I'm pulling from June 3rd. So I already started it on the last recording. Let's go on and continue it and see how much we can get done. God said to me, this is an active period, a live period, full of action. God said this period is full of activity. This season that we're in has a lot of activeness going on. This season that we're in has a lot of activity going on. When I'm saying activity, and what God was meaning in activity is not, people are out doing all kind of stuff, shopping and all of that there. Really, we should not be even in that flow of things. This is not a season for that. This is not a period for that. However, people are continuing to do it, but I will not mess with that in this moment right here. But I probably will, because some things God said to me, but not in this recording here. Further on in the subtopics, I will. The activity God that is talking about is divine activity. This is a period that is active. This is a period where the divine hand of God is working and orchestrating and doing, building and tearing down, taking and giving, uprooting and planting in all types of ways. Oh, the manifold, many-sidedness, the many workings of God. This is a period of activeness. This is what God said to me. This is a period of activism. Now, I'm going to tell you, that word activism, when God said that to me, I still remember every moment of what I'm reading right now. I remember when he said these things to me. I remember how I was feeling as he was talking to me. I just remember it. That's one thing about recording what you do. Not so much audio or video recording what you do, but that's part too. But I'm saying, as I'm writing it down, it ingrains it deeper into you as you're writing. That's what I'm talking about. This is a period full of energy. That word activism, God said this is a period of activism. The definition of activism is the use of direct, often confrontational action, such as a demonstration or strike in opposition to or support of a particular cause. Wow. Activism is the confrontation of folks who are opposed to a certain situation, a certain type teaching, a certain type law enforcement, a certain type rule or regulation that does not benefit the people, that does not produce justice and equality, that does not produce honesty and truth and integrity, that has no morality, that has no principle involved, that goes against principle. Activism is a policy of taking direct and often militant action to achieve an end. Wow, militant, military, guns. Oh, protesting, rock throwing, stick swinging, often militant action to achieve an end, especially a political or social one. It's the practice of vigorous action or involvement as a means of achieving political or other goals through demonstrations and protests. So you mean to tell me all of those people out there in those streets is actually the hand of God, the working of God?
That's correct.
So they're not anarchists.
Wrong answer.
They're not Antifa.
Wrong answer.
It's the attitude of taking an active part in events, especially in a social context. It's a policy of taking direct and militant action to achieve a political or social goal. That, my brother, my sister, is activism. And God said this is a period of activism. So when you're out there or when you're home and you see these folks demonize Black Lives Matter groups, when you see them demonize those who are standing up for right, those who are standing in their integrity, those who are out there defending the rights of the poor and the oppressed, those who are out there saying justice must prevail, those who are out there saying let righteousness run down, rain down, understand that God is working that. This is a period of activation. Wow, that's what God said to me. This is a period of activist. Wow, so these people aren't just out there on their own volition. No, this is divine. It is divine. Those who oppose and those who fight, you only are doing yourself a disservice for going against the shift that is occurring, the flow within the shift that is occurring. You will find yourself like in the book of Acts where they said, look, we have to be careful. If we oppose these guys for what they're saying, if it's not of God, then it won't come to anything. It'll all be for naught. But if indeed this divine season of the pandemic is actually divine, that means God is actually involved, heavily involved, that God is irritating and stirring and causing creative, divine disturbance and chaos and activists, then I think we better not fight, because then we'll be fighting against the purposes and plans of God, and that may not fare well for us. This is a period where activists are coming forward. That's what God said. This is a period where activists are being called into position. God said, I am calling activists, protesters into position. Wow. You mean to tell me, God, there was a divine position placed for this season,
That's correct.
for those particular individuals,
That's correct.
however many thousands or millions of them there are
That's correct.
around the world,
That's correct.
to be standing up right now in position
That's correct.
during this shift?
That's correct.
Do you mean to tell me this is part of their divine purpose,
That's correct.
plan,
That's correct.
destiny?
That's correct.
Wow. Wow. God, I want to get with your plan. I don't want to go against your plan. And I don't always understand what your purpose and plans are, because I know that your ways are higher than mine and you think differently. Your thoughts are higher than mine, and the foolishness of man and the wisdom of God confounds us. Because of that, God, I just want to be in tune with you so that I don't find myself fighting against your plan, because whatever you do, it shall work, it shall go forth, and it shall complete what it was sent out to do. But if I find myself doing what I'm doing, then I can easily find myself on a not so good end of principle and the universe. So God, I'm listening. So God said to me, this is a period where activists are coming forward. This is a period where activists are being called into position. A clarion call, a divine call, the Jewish, as they want to say, trumpet blowing, telling you, this is God. It's time for you to step up. It's time for you to get into position. God said this is a period where activists are being summoned. Do you know how when it's time for you to go to court, whether it's to be a witness or whatever, and they send you a document of some type to your home address, or even a police officer or a sheriff or some other law enforcement type individual will come to your home and deliver to you a summons to appear in court? God said this is the period where activists are being summoned. Wow. Divine summoning. Woo. This is a period where activists are to come forth. Activists are coming forth. Activists are being petitioned to come forth. God said the petitioning that is occurring in this season is being done by me. Oh, so God, man isn't doing this? No. Oh, it's the Democrats aren't doing this? No. Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer? No. Wow. Then why are they saying this? Then why is it being put out by even the president? Wow. Wow. The petition that is occurring in this season is being done by me. I am petitioning them. I am petitioning the activists of this season to come forth. I am summoning those who are to come forth to come forth. This is their time. Oh man, this season is the time for the people that God has divinely duck, goose. You know that game. And whoever is the goose needs to jump up and start running. God said, I'm calling all of my gooses, all of my geese, all of my extended hand pieces to come forth in this season. God said, this is their season to come forth. Wow. Let's keep going. God said, this is a very important one. God said to me still in June 3rd, he said, this is a period of ordered, before the foundations of the world. This is a period of ordained historical proportions with the S. God said this is a period of ordained historical proportions. In other words, this period is going to be filled with things that will come, that will be historical, and it will all be ordained. No devil, no leftist, no rightist, no one individual, no group of individuals, no hate group of individuals, no violent group of individuals, no protesting group of individuals, no religious group of individuals, no political group of individuals is making this happen. God said no other period in history will have recorded what this period of history will record. He said this period of history will record events that have never been recorded and that will never be recorded. Let me read that part again. God said the season that we're in, the period of history that we're in, will record events that have never been recorded and that will never be recorded. He said the events of this season will be of great historical proportions. He's basically saying to us, this will not be just another period, but this will be a period of historical proportions. God said to me, this will not be a short season. When God told me this, he started telling me this in March. God said this will not be a short period, a short season. People are wanting this season to end yesterday. People are wanting this season to end 6 months ago. People are wanting this season to not even exist. But not only is this season going to continue to exist, but this season is not going to be a short season. God says there will be no shortness to this season. He said this will be a lengthy season. Lengthy. God said this will be a season of great length. He said the length of this season will be greater than any other, or he didn't say any, he said the length of this season will be greater than other seasons. God is saying, if you think this is going to be a short thing, and then you just go back to what you call your norm, and then you just go back to your tricking, and then you just go back to your hustling, and then you just go back to your connivings and your deceptions, and then you just go back to your oppression, and then you go back to your wealthy place, and you just go back to your ivory towers, your place of protection, your place of wealth, your place of undue dignity and pride. No, God said that's not the type season this is going to be. He said this is not going to be a short season and you just go back to you. He said there will be no shortness in this season. So you can pray for it to get church. You can pray for it all you want. You shall not get it. And remember, the ordained heretic stated it. You shall not get a short season in this. This season shall not, will not, cannot, must not be short in any sense of the way. This season that we're in will be a very long and lengthy season. Very long and lengthy season. I've had people tell me, I don't want to hear that. I'm not ready for that. I'm not whatever. Man, that ain't God. That ain't God. That ain't God. What is you talking about, sir? What is you talking about, ma'am? That ain't God. What you're saying ain't God. No, Lord, far be it that you have to die. And Jesus said, at least they recorded that he stated it. Satan Ho, I got a problem right there, Jesus. Now, wait a minute now.
Hold it right there.
Now, how are you going to tell me right there to hold it right there? Well, first of all, actually, I should have just gone ahead on and just put on the brakes. Because wait a minute, Jesus, you sitting here and you stating to me, or they said that you said, but Peter, you were talking to Peter. But instead of you saying Peter, you said Satan. Wow. You mean to tell me you call Peter Satan?
That's correct.
Wow. That's something. He wasn't talking to Peter. Hush up. You wasn't there. You don't know why that man recorded that in that book. All right. Cut it out. You don't really know. No, you don't. And by faith, we know that is true. Anyway, let's leave that. I'm gonna leave that alone right here. Doesn't mean I'm gonna back off it for good, but I'll leave it alone right here. Okay. He said when Peter went against what Jesus was stating, Jesus said, Satan. Basically, the Lord rebuked you. I bind you and cast you into. Jesus said, no, Satan. Satan, we ain't going nowhere with this Satan. Jesus, that was Peter talking. Come on now, that's the one who loved you. But anyway, you got to be careful to not go against what is going on this season, because Satan, the Lord rebuked you. Now, did Jesus say Satan? I say, hell to the no, he didn't say no Satan. That's what the books say. First of all, he wasn't even talking in English. Duh. Secondly, all of the Greek influence of that time period, they believed in a Satan and a devil and demons and a hell place and all of this here. And someone's saying right now, oh, now I see why they called him a heretic. Oh, well, anyway, we going to go ahead on and keep doing what we always do. Here we go. God said the length of this season will be greater than other seasons. Went on to say this will not be a short movement. Some of you, you're wanting all of this protest and all of this activism that's going on. You want all of them to just go away, just magically go away. Go home, go sit down, go do what you need to do. Now understand, I am on the side of justice. I am on the side of right. I am on the side of equality. But I understand that in this divided states of America, we shall never come into unity, at least not at this point in time. And before there's cohesion, there's more than likely a division. We are divided. We're divided. If we are divided, then we know that stuff will not be rationed out equally, whether it's the law, whether it's the economy, whether it's in religion, whether it's in politics, whether it's in the healthcare system or any other system within the systems of this world. We know that it's not being equal. I am for equality. I am not for black or white. I am for equality. And if marching is part of God's plan for this season, then I herald those who do so. Now, am I one of those who's supposed to go out there in the streets and do what these people are being divinely petitioned, summoned to do? I think not. But I support them wholly. You can't even wear a Black Lives Matter movement shirt or hat or face mask or anything. Why? Because it makes you a potential target. You may not even realize at the moment why you just got stabbed, why you just got shot, why somebody just rolled their eyes at you. Why? Because you forgot you had on that shirt. You forgot you had on that hat. We don't want now the Black Lives Matter to become what the MAGA hat or Make America Great Again hat has done. When you see those people, you tend to turn your nose up at them or whatever else. A lot of them are making a statement, an aggressive statement, and they're really saying white folks matter and we need to get things back too. And white folks do matter. They really do matter. I know very good white folks. I do. And I deal with them and I depend upon them in certain ways. Do I want an all black society? Hell to the no. Cause we got animal in us too. We got some sure enough animal in us. Okay. No. Do I want an all white society? No, that's not what I want. I think color and different flavors, I think that's good. That's why when I cook something and I put a lot of herbs and stuff in it. I like spices and herbs. I love the taste, the bursting taste of different spices and herbs mixed together. That's why I love West Indian food. That's why I love Caribbean food. Why I love Jamaican type food. I love their spices and herbs. I love how the kitchen smells. I love the color of that food when it's laid out, the presentation of it when it's done right. I love all of that. I think that's great. It bursts with flavor. I like what God does. I like how God created so many different shades and colors and backgrounds. I love that about God. God knew what he was doing, and I appreciate that. So no, I don't want an all Hispanic or an all black or an all white. I want a mixed culture. Why? I grew up in a mixed culture, born in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, raised in South Florida. And I still affiliate myself with Florida, South Florida, that is. We grew up with literal Indians, descendants of Indians who look like Indians. Okay. They weren't just like, well, I got Indian in my blood. You hear black people say that, I'm part this and I'm part that and I'm part Cherokee Indian. You be like, well, where is it? Where that at? Oh, I see that. Oh, I see that strand of hair. Okay. All right. I guess I got to give you a pass then. No, I'm talking about Indians who look like Indians. We grew up with Mexicans, Italians, Puerto Ricans, Germans, people from all over Europe, people from Great Britain. I grew up with people from all the different islands, St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. Kitts, St. John, St. Matthew, Martin, I don't know. Anyway, from the Bahamas, from Haiti, definitely from Haiti. They kind of came in the early 80s. They began to literally come up on our shores at the beaches, just come up in boats on shore at the beaches and get out of those boats on the beach and walk away. But then they have family members around and whatever, and they kind of hook up with them and they live 20 in the house. But now you go to South Florida, those people are now the CEOs and they got companies and they came from nothing. They were poor. They were very out of place. Now those people, they got a place in society now. Now we have to go to them. They're doing better than many of us are. So I applaud them. But I grew up with all of this here. I don't have a problem with us all coming together and being together. I don't have a problem in what God is doing, but so many people have a problem with this Black Lives Matter move and people on the internet saying, we're going to kill you. We're going to do this to you. Why? Because they want equality. Shouldn't we all want that? Because they want justice. Shouldn't we all want that? Because they don't want to be shot in the back. Because they don't want to be paralyzed, because they don't want to be choked, because they don't want to be beat on, because they don't want to be caught incarcerated for a life or 2-3 life sentences when other races only get probation, if even that. Why should they not stand up? What truly is the problem? Is the problem lying within you? Or is the problem lying with them? But anyway, let's keep moving. Remember, I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. I'm for right. I could tell you something to prove that I'm neither or neither nor, but I won't. Not right now. So God said, this is not a short period. This will be an extended period. This will be an intense period. Can't we all just get along? That was Rodney King's thing. I don't even know if I finished at that time that I was talking about it, maybe in the last tape or the tape before, prior to, I'm not sure. But anyway, that was Rodney King's cry. Can't we all just get along? God said this will be an intense moment in time this season. We are in a moment. A moment is not a second in time, a split whatever in time. A moment can be a long period. A moment can be a season. We're in a moment. We're in a season. We're in a moment within the season, can be segmented moments. But this moment or this season is an extended period. So don't think of it as moment necessarily. But that wasn't what. Let me go back to what God said, because I said moment, and it's not moment. This will not be a short movement. This movement that we're in, this divine movement, this divine flowing that is occurring, that is bringing forth protests and all of this infighting and out fighting and whatever, left fighting and right fighting. He said this will not be a short movement. Everybody's not going to kumbaya and go home and just kick it. This will be an extended movement. This will be an intense movement. This is what God is saying. Intense. This will be a movement of great intensity. Going on, he said, this season is filled with movement. This season is about movement. This season is about things being moved. And I dare to say things being removed. God says, I am moving things during this season. I am rearranging things in this season. He says, I am shuffling things in this season. He says, I am changing the order of things during this season. He said, this racial movement will disrupt. I never really gave you all the definition of a movement. A movement is the act or an instance of moving. It's a change in place or position. It's an act of changing location or position. It's a series of actions and events taking place over a period of time and working to foster a principle or policy. It's an organized effort by supporters of a common goal. It's an excavation of the bowels. When you have a bowel movement, is God cleaning the bowels of the universe in this season? Yes, he is. It's a group of people with a common ideology. Black lives matter, and truly all lives matter. But all lives aren't what's under the foot and knee of the police. All lives aren't in front of the bullets of police. All lives are not being treated equally. So it's not about all lives, though all lives truly do matter, and I support life, all lives. You say, well, what do you feel about abortion? Well, my question is, how do you fight for abortion, but yet you fight for the police in favor of what they're doing to particular specific races in killing them? Remember, every one of those individuals that the police killed are lives. And if you are about life, whether it's a baby, a fetus, or a grown adult, why aren't you dealing with all lives? Why are you fighting for in agreement with what is going on. But yet you say, I'm standing up against abortion because it's wrong to kill. Is it wrong to kill? Do you know every one of those individuals who are being killed, who were hung, who were burned, who died out in those cotton fields? Do you know that all of them were once babies? Do you know that all of them were once a fetus? Why do you only care for a fetus that you can't see, but you can't care for the very person that the fetus produced? When that person becomes older and you begin to see the skin color of that person, or the hair texture of that person, or the location of that person, because that person lives in Mexico, because that person lives in Honduras, because that person comes from South Africa, because that person comes from China or any of the Asian places. Why? I thought the fetus matters. Feed us? No. Feed us, Mr. Ordained Heretic. Well, I will do so, and I'm glad you told me to. So let's keep going. Now, it's a change that leads toward improving a situation or solving a problem. God said, I'm in this movement. This season is filled with movement. This season is about movement. This season is about being moved. This season, I am moving things during this season. I am rearranging things during this season. I am shuffling things in this season. I am changing things. That's what a movement is. That's what the shift is. That's what the flow is. The flow keeps you changing positions. You never stay in one place. Why? Because the flow keeps pulling you further and further. People have a problem in being pulled anywhere that they don't want to be pulled. Well, you might as well buckle your seats, buddy. Because, buddy, you getting ready to be pulled during this season, because that's all God is doing. God said there's a time to plant, and then there's the time to uproot what is planted. I read that to you all in Ecclesiastes chapter 3. If you were reading, or if you were following what I was saying in the other recordings and not skipping around trying to pick and choose, cherry pick which one you want to hear, whatever. But it is what it is. I just have a job to put it out here. So here I am. I am changing the order of things during this season. That's what God said. I am changing the order of things during this season. I am changing the order of things during this season. Lord, so things are not going to be like they always have been? No. I am changing the order of things. So this is a season where the way things have been ordered is being changed, or are being changed. This racial movement during this season, this is a season of racial movement. It will disrupt. Whoa. Wait a minute. Let me hit that. Let's stop that recording. Now, wait a minute. Hold on. All right. Now, God, now, first of all, you know that Bible say that you ain't the author of confusion and division, but I gotta go a little deeper. Let's stop that again. All right. Now, wait a minute, God. Now, hold on. Okay, I appreciate you holding on, God. Thank you there. Next time, hit the brakes a little softer. Whiplash, God. And I sure enough sue you now. I'll bring you to court in a minute. I learned it. I learned it from the best. Yes, sir. The White House best. Well, God, now watch this here. They said that you aren't the author of confusion and division. Yet at the same time, I knew that I was seeing where you were causing divisions throughout the Old Testament, and that you were confusing armies to the point that they began to fight against each other, and that you brought confusion with Joseph's brothers toward him. Divine confusion. And then you divided them because they became divided in what they wanted to do with Joseph. They wanted to kill him, but others, well, no, we can't kill him. You caused that division there. So okay. And then you again, when they sent him to Egypt, you divided them from each other. Joseph grew up in Egypt and they stayed in their home. God, I can see how you're in this disruption that's going on. But God was throwing me off is that even the president is telling us that this is chaos and this is disruption and this is anarchy and you got the preachers coming out and saying it, and I'm going to call it out. Do it. I'm going to call it out because I know divinely call it out. You have Kenneth Copeland saying it. You have those in his camp saying it. Those who are affiliated with him saying it. I called it out. I'm not afraid, and I'm going to keep calling it out, but I'll call it out more when I get to the churches or to the church. This racial movement will be a disruptive movement. Okay, God, you're the one creating the movement.
That's correct.
You're the one who created the moment.
That's correct.
The season.
That's correct.
The period that we're in.
That's correct.
You're the one made it of divine proportion.
That's correct.
And you mean to tell me you also made it a disruptive one?
That's correct.
A movement to disrupt systems?
That's correct.
To disrupt groups?
That's correct.
To disrupt the economy?
That's correct.
Religion?
That's correct.
Politics?
That's correct.
The healthcare system?
That's correct.
The legal system?
That's correct.
Wow. Around the world?
That's correct.
So that's you?
That's correct.
My bad. I step back, God. I step back and let you do what you do. I step back. This racial movement will be a disruptive movement. This movement will disrupt those who are corrupt. Whoa. God, look at you rhyming. This movement will disrupt those who are corrupt. Oh my goodness. Corrupt in their thinking, corrupt in their financial business, in their loan business, in their credit card business, in the stock market. Oh, I see what you're doing, I think. Those who are corrupt in religion.
That's correct.
In the church.
That's correct.
In the churches.
That's correct.
You're disrupting church services.
That's correct.
You're closing doors and
that's correct.
You're removing preachers from mics.
That's correct.
And you're removing bishops and preachers from the earth.
Stop it right now.
That's correct.
That just makes me mad.
Wow. And I'm fighting against that, God. Shame on me. Shame on me. And shame on you if you're doing it. This movement will disrupt those who are corrupt. Are you corrupt? Well, that ain't your business, preacher. That ain't your business, you heretic. No? Okay. Let's look at the word corrupt. Okay, let's play with that a little bit. Okay? These are not sermons that I'm doing. I am a teacher. God told me in 1989 in Germany, I think in August of 1989, just bought my first real Bible, called it like $70-something. Went to a Frankfurt store in Frankfurt, Germany that sold Bibles. I think it was like the only Christian Bible store that I had ever been in. Little German Christian store, American man over there. I think he was American. Yeah, he was American. He had American Christian bookstore. Small, real small, right on the main streets of Germany, just right on the street and whatever. But every Saturday, not every Saturday, but many Saturdays, I would go there. I would go there Saturday afternoon and whatever. And I went there one day during a weekday okay, I was in Germany twice. So the first time I was in Germany, I went during the weekday, and that's when I discovered this bookstore. So the first time in my life ever remember going into a bookstore, I went into this Christian bookstore, or Christian bookstore that is. I went into a Christian bookstore and I bought me a Bible, a leather Bible, and I began to read that Bible. I would go back to my room. I was now not living out on the economy in German house, and I moved back on base into the barracks. Coleman Concern, Gillenhausen, Germany, and I'm at the barracks. And 3rd Armored Division. I went back to my barracks room and I began to read that Bible, and I was reading something, and when I was getting ready to be finished, I heard God say to me, "I called you to teach. You are to teach. You're a teacher." Now understand, I didn't even know the Bible at that point. I grew up in church, literally, but I didn't know the Bible. I knew the verse, nor his ox, nor his ass. I like that one. I would quote that one. We waited on that to come forth. Yes, I like that one. That was a free curse in church, in front of the preacher, and nobody got pinched or slapped. Isn't that something? Nor his ass or hers, But anyway, God told me that I'm a teacher. Well, I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm trying to teach to you. Don't try to follow my teachings like you would follow a Jake's message or somebody else's message. I'm trying to teach you. I'm trying to give you revelation as to what is going on in life, how to govern life. And I'm trying to remove the religion out of it, because the religion is choking us all. We're all being choked by religion. Religion is the problem, especially Christianity, especially Christianity, especially Christianity, especially Christianity, especially Christianity, especially Christianity. Corruption. What is corruption? Well, we got to look at the word corrupt to understand corruption, because if God is causing disruption amongst those who are corrupt, then we need to know what corrupt means. It says to be marked by immorality and perversion, to be depraved or dishonest, to ruin morally, to pervert, to destroy or subvert the honesty or integrity of, as by offering bribes, lobbyists, paying those who run for office under the table, as by offering bribes and dishonest practices, to cause to become rotten, spoil, to render impure or contaminate. Corrupt means to alter from the original or proper form of a thing. It's something that is unclean, to become or cause to become dishonest or disloyal, to debase or become debased morally corrupt, to infect or contaminate, to taint, to cause to become rotten, to alter from the original state, guilty of dishonest practices, again, debased in character, decayed, to alter for the worse, lacking integrity, utterly reprehensible in nature or behavioral, ruthlessly seeking personal advantage, to ruin utterly in character or quality, to make or become evil or bad. God said it is those type people who are going to get messed up in this season, because I've come to disrupt those who are corrupt. God said this movement will disrupt those who are in corrupt fields. If you are in politics and you're corrupt, God said, I'm coming to disrupt you. If you are involved in the stock market and you are corrupt, God says, I'm coming to disrupt the corrupt. If you are in any form of economics, or you are in the economic system of things and you're corrupt, God's coming after you. If you are in the church If you are in the church, God, the one who you claim to uphold, is coming to disrupt you. God said, corrupt. No wonder you can't get those church services going like you used to. No wonder that offering plate won't flow like it used to. Okay. This movement will disrupt systems. God said, I'm coming to disrupt your systems. It will disrupt the social systems that racism has corrupted. Oh man, the social systems that racism corrupted. So you mean to tell me that racism is what corrupted the systems? God went on to tell me, he said it was race that created the systems. So the race created the systems in such a way that it split up races. It divided races. And there you have the raceism, the schism amongst the races. I've come to disrupt the social systems that racism has corrupted. I know I'm right at an hour right now, but I'm just going to go over just a little bit, and then we will go into the next one, and I'll continue on. This movement will disrupt social systems that racism has corrupted. This movement will disrupt the corruption of systems. If you're not corrupt, don't worry about it. But if the system is corrupt, God has to disrupt it. And many good people are going to lose their jobs. They're going to lose their positions, but you're not losing anything, sir or ma'am, boy or girl, male or female, I should say, I guess. Some people get hurt over, you saying boy, girl, I call my girls, and my girls are all in their 20s. Let me see. Yes, all of my girls are in their 20s. And my boys, I call all of my boys boys. I have a boy that's almost in his mid-30s. I have a boy that's is in his literal mid-20s. And I have a son who's not even 20 yet. But I call mine girls and boys, and someone says, well, I'm not your boy and I'm not your girl. I'm not your son and I'm not your daughter. And you're right, sir, ma'am, male, female. So that's why I changed it. That's why I just stated all of this here. Probably not proper for everybody. Don't want you to get touched with your soft self. Okay, this season is filled with movement. I'm rearranging. I'm coming to disrupt the corruption of systems. But when God disrupt these systems that are corrupt, those of you who are spiritual ought to understand what is going on. Or if you don't understand, you are to get to a point of understanding what is going on, so that you don't fight for something that God is closing, so that you don't fight for something that God is disrupting, so that you don't fight and cry over what God knew what was best for you and knew needed to be ended. Some of you don't even realize how corrupt the system is that you're involved in, especially y'all church folk. You don't know, but God does. You don't see what God sees. As the verse in the Bible says, God sits high and he looks low. You sit low and you are unable, or it's not possible for you to look up into the high places of the system or the systems that you're involved in. So you don't see the backroom workings of all of this here stuff. But those of you who are in the back rooms, you know what's going on. You know what you're doing. You know where the corruption is. You know you are part of the corruption. You know it. But some of you don't know it. And because you don't know it, you will be hurt for what is closing. You will be hurt for what's coming to a close. But it's okay. And you have to know that it's okay. The Bible says, by faith we know. You're going to have to just know that God is in control, literally. You're going to have to know that man is not orchestrating this season. That's why man is so upset with this season. That's why man keeps fighting this season, because he is not in control of this season, and that messes him up. Now, let me go a little further just to finish this right here, this particular recording. This movement will disrupt the corruption of systems. This movement will disrupt the corruption of systems, or the corruption that systems are built upon. God says this is a season where I'm coming. The type season this is a season that I'm coming to uproot, break down, dismantle, not just the system itself, but the foundation on which the system stands upon, or the systems of this world stand upon. Man, this is a real rocker of a season. This racial movement will be a disruptive movement. This movement will disrupt those who are corrupt. God said this here to me. This movement will disrupt those who are in corrupt fields. Corrupt enterprises will be the most affected by the disruption of this period. God said, if you in a corrupt enterprise, you will be the most affected by the disruption that he's creating, that divinity is creating in this period. So when you all see this disruption in communities, this disruption in the police system, the policing system, in the legal system, in the political system, in the healthcare system, in the prison system, God help them. There's some stuff I want to talk about in the prison systems. Sads, I have a heart for prisoners, inmates, people who are incarcerated. I have a heart for you all. I honestly do. And many thousands have come to know my obvious heart towards you all. But I'll talk about that later, because you're heavily affected by what's going on in this season as well. Corrupt enterprises, again, will by far, or will be the most affected by the disruption of this period. Wow. Well, there we have it in another recording. Just because I end the recordings, please understand that you are not to just go ahead on with life as usual when you come into an ending of a message. You don't just go back to how you were. You apply what you're hearing. You take in what you're hearing. May God give you revelation. May God give you revelation as to whether or not, or confirmation or whatever, as to whether or not what I'm saying is true. May God give that to you. May you come to that. All right. In the next one.